Good morning. So we're moving on with our statistics topic. We've done all the averages, so working with numbers. Now we're looking at how we display our data. Okay, so today we're going to look at interpreting and constructing frequency tables. We're going to look at interpreting and constructing pictograms and vertical line graphs as well, or line diagrams. Okay, so some of these you will have seen before, so it'll just be revision. But we, in all of these, we need to be really precise. So I'm going to be showing you how to draw these precisely and how we read them. Okay, so we're going to start with frequency tables. So below we've got a set of data. Now this worksheet is attached to show my homework, so you can print it off or you can copy it out. It's up to you. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll down a little bit. So what we've got here is some data on shoe sizes, and we're asked to complete this frequency table. Now remember, the word frequency means how many we've got of something. So we're looking at how many people were size 1, how many people were size 2, but the easiest way to do that is to start with tallying. So just as a reminder, okay, to tally and to do it accurately and make sure we don't make mistakes, the thing to do is to take one number at a time and put it in your tally, and then work across the row and cross them out as you go. So for example, the first one's 4, so I would cross that out and put it in there. Okay, then I can see I've got a 2, 2, 2, so I'm actually, because they're all the same, going to cross those out together and put in 3 tally lines there. But the next one's a 1, so I cross that out and put a 1 in there. 3, cross that out and put a tally line there. And 1, oops, cross that out and put a tally line there. And then we work our way through the next line. That's the best way to do it. So if you get interrupted or you forget where you've got to, you've got really clear because you've crossed numbers off. Okay, or even if you haven't crossed them off, you can count how many tallies you've got, so you can work out how far you've got through. Okay, don't forget when you get to 5, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one we get across to count as 5. Okay, when you've done your tally, fill in your frequency, which is just how many the tally is worth. Okay, and then at the bottom, so if you're printed the sheet off, you've got this. If you're working from here, you've got these questions here to answer. So press pause once you've done your tally, your frequency table. Answer these questions. Okay, so press pause, complete the worksheet, and then press play when you're ready to mark it. Okay, so if you've finished the worksheet, these are the answers you should have. So we tallied 8 at size 1, 10 at size 2, 6 at size 3, 3 at size 4, and 1 at size 5. So the answer to the questions are, which shoe size was the most popular? Well, that was 2, and if you remember last week we learnt that the name for that is the mode. Okay, which shoe size was the least popular? Well, that was size 5, only one person had that. The largest shoe size was 5, and the smallest shoe size was 1. How many more children had size 2 shoe sizes than size 4 shoes? Okay, so we had 10 who had size 2 and 3 that had size 4, so that's 7 more. How many fewer children had size 5 shoes than size 1? Well, we had 8 at size 1 and 1 at size 5, so the difference is 7. There were 7 fewer. Okay, and how many customers did the shop have on the day of the survey? Well, you can either add these up for 28, or you could work out from here, okay, you've got 4 by 7, so that's 28. Okay, and actually when I'm filling in the table, I always double check, do these numbers add up to how many numbers I've got here? Okay, so that's a quick check to see if you've made a silly mistake or missed one out or added an extra one in. Okay, right, so that's frequency tables. Okay, we're now going to look at pictograms. So again, pictograms may be something that you've seen before, but let me just make it slightly bigger. Okay, just have a quick look. I've got 4 pictograms here. I'll scroll down in a minute. Just have a look and see if you can work out what some of the key features are for a pictogram. What always has to be included with a pictogram. Don't worry about the questions at the top. You can answer them if you want, but I'm more interested in the pictogram. What are some of the key features? What appears in every pictogram? Okay, I'll just scroll down. Okay. We've got one with footballs here, one with people. Okay, so let's see if you picked up some of these key features. So we've got a Smarties one here. So let's start from this side. We have a title here for number of Smarties, and we have labels here for the colour of Smarties. So we need those in the pictograms. Okay. The pictures are all the same size. If you look, these circles representing the Smarties are exactly the same size. We haven't got some big ones and some small ones. Okay, so the pictures are all the same size. Make sure you do that on your pictogram. Don't have a really big circle and then a really little circle. If you can see, the pictures are all lined up so we can compare. So I know that this row here, okay, is the this column here is the 3rd column in every row. Okay, and this column here is the 2nd in every row, and this column here is the 1st, because they all line up, which means it's really easy to see that yellow, there are more yellows than anything else. Okay, okay, because I've spread them out easily and all of equally, sorry, and all of these line up. Another thing that's always included is we always have a key. So I know from here that one Smartie or one picture of a Smartie is worth 2 Smarties. Okay, so one red circle or one circle is worth 2 Smarties. So then when I've got half a circle, I know that's representing 1 Smartie. Okay, so always have a key so we know what each picture is worth. And then the pictures are all in nice neat rows. So we've got green is on that line, orange is on that line. They're not mixed up. They're rows so we can read them. Okay, so it's really obvious again to see that the brown was the fewest. Okay, yellow there were the most. Okay, we can see red and orange had an even amount. It's really obvious just by comparing the 2 rows. Okay, so that's pictograms. So it'd be a good idea if you could, you don't need to draw the pictogram, but just maybe make a note of some of the features that we must have in our pictogram to draw it correctly. Okay, so the next diagram or graph that we're looking at are vertical line graphs. Okay, so I've got a vertical line graph here and its frequency table next to it. Okay, and this vertical line graph is to show the number of siblings. Okay, so let's look at the key features. So first of all, I've just read out the title so I know what the line graph is about. So make sure all your line graphs and your pictograms have titles. Okay. We've then got to scale up the side. Now you have to be really careful when you're drawing your own scale. The scale is showing the heights of the lines. So number 1, each number must be on a line. So when I go up 1 block, I know that in this case that's worth 1 person. If I go up another block, I know that's worth 2 people. So your scale must line up, these numbers must line up with the lines. Okay, but also your scale must go up in even jumps. So this one goes up in 1s, and it always goes up in 1s. But you might decide you want to go up in 2s, but then it must always go up in 2s. And you must always start at 0 and go up in your equal jumps. Okay. Make sure your axes are labelled. So I know this is frequency, okay, going up the side, and I know this is number of siblings along the bottom. Okay. Now when we're drawing our vertical line graphs, okay, there should be a space between each line. Okay, now if you look again, the line graphs are on the line of the square paper. Okay, so here there's a line there, I've drawn the line graph on that line. Okay, and then I've made sure there's a space between. Now it doesn't need to be that big, okay, but if you have got space, make sure you put a space. I could have drawn the line here, okay, but then it would have been all bunched together. Okay, and also notice that the spaces are equal sizes. You can't have a small space then a big space, okay, the spaces are all the same. Okay, so if we have a look, it says in my frequency table that there were 8 people who had no siblings. So if we come here, I've got 0 and the line goes up to 8. There were 5 people with 1 sibling, so come to 1 and the line goes up to 5 and so on. Okay, so again, just press pause and write down the features of a vertical line graph, because you need to make sure that you include those when you draw yours in a minute. Okay, so just one more thing to note, that vertical line graphs and pictograms are used to display discrete data. So if you remember back last week, we learned about different types of data. There was discrete and continuous. So a line graph, a vertical line graph and a pictogram are used for discrete data. Pictograms are usually used to display qualitative data, so words rather than numbers, okay, but occasionally you might see one that represents quantitative data, but generally it's qualitative data, and vertical line graphs will be either, okay, quantitative or qualitative. Okay, let's have a look at some questions. So again, this worksheet will be added to show my homework, or you can copy it down. So the first thing you need to do is to complete the frequency here from the tally, and you've got 2 charts to do that on. So let's have a look at what these charts are about. So it says the Summer Days Travel Company collected data on the chosen holiday destinations of 2 groups of customers. The first group of customers are aged 40 to 65, the second group of customers are aged 18 to 39, and the tally below shows the results. So complete the frequencies for both. So there's one. Okay, there's the other. So again, either print the worksheet off or copy out the tables. And then we've got these questions to answer. So we've already talked about completing the frequency. Then you need to draw a pictogram for both sets of data. So that's 2 pictograms to draw, one for this set of data, one for the other set of data. And then you need to draw vertical line graphs to represent both sets of data, one for this table, one for the other table. And then you need to comment on the differences in chosen holiday destinations between group 1 and group 2. Okay, so see if you can spot the differences. So remember what we said about the different pictograms and vertical line graphs. Okay, make sure you include all the things that we spoke about. Okay. So press pause or stop the video, complete that work. When you're ready, press play again and I will go through the answers with you. Okay, so here are the answers to the frequency tables. Okay, that one. That one. Okay, and then we'll just look at the questions. So it said suitable comments that you could have made was there were more customers in the 18 to 39 age group than the 40 to 65. Okay, so this one had 95 customers. The most popular destination for the 40 to 65-year-olds was the European mainland, followed by European islands. But the most popular destination for 18 to 39-year-olds was the European islands, followed by European mainland and Australasia. Okay. The least popular destination was Australasia for the 40 to 65 age group and South America for the age 18 to 39 group, with 2 customers choosing each of the destinations in both groups. So you don't have to have all of that down, but that's an example of what you could have written down. Okay, So let's have a look at some pictograms. So I chose a little picture of the Earth, okay, as my picture. You could choose whatever you like, and I've put my key here that one picture is two people. So again, can you see that I've lined up all my pictures so it's easy to compare? It's quite clear to see that European mainland had the most, was the most popular, okay, and Australasia was the least popular. Okay, so that's for group 1. So again, your pictures can be anything, but make sure they're lined up. Okay, it's the same key for this one, but again, it's really clear here that the European islands was the most popular and South America was the least popular. Okay, right, similar with the line graphs. So if you look, I've gone up in 2s because that fit with my paper, my grids, okay, but each line has got a number on it. I've gone all the way up to 38. I've labelled the lines with the different destinations, and then my lines go up as high as the frequencies. Okay, so again, really obvious to see the European mainland was the most popular here. Same here, and it's really clear to see the European islands was the most popular here. I've got titles, but there is something missing. Okay, don't know if anybody's spotted it. I haven't labelled my axes. So this here are the holiday destinations. Okay, destinations. Okay, and up the side is the frequency. Let's get that in there. So holiday destinations there and there, and at the side we should have frequency. Oops. Let's claim that. Okay, and we'll put that there, and I'll just turn it. Ooh. No, it doesn't want to go. There we go. Right, and then that one goes over there. Okay, so we've got our axes labelled as well as a title. There we go. Okay, right, so that's the end of that lesson. Next lesson we will be looking in detail at some bar charts.